Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves, because what you're about to hear might just be the most unbelievable twist in the entire Harris family saga. King Harris, the same young man who's been trending for his wild antics, bold statements, and "I'm grown now" attitude, is now reportedly fighting for his life in the ICU after what insiders are calling a brutal and mysterious jail attack. Yeah, you heard that right. King Harris, son of rap legend T.I., is lying unconscious while the entire industry holds its breath. But here's the real question. Was this just another prison fight gone wrong? Or is something way darker happening behind those bars? Why are there so many conflicting reports? And why is T.I. suddenly making desperate late-night calls to powerful people who supposedly can make things disappear? Social media is exploding, fans are panicking, and even some of King's closest friends are posting cryptic stories saying they set him up. Set him up? By who? For what? And while the internet argues, T.I. himself has reportedly broken down completely after doctors told him something no parent ever wants to hear. The man who once rapped about surviving the streets might now be facing a battle even he can't win. So buckle up, because this story gets darker, deeper, and way more twisted than anyone could have imagined. Let's start from the beginning, because this story doesn't just start with King Harris in a hospital bed. No, this started long before that. Back when King was trying to prove to the world that he wasn't just T.I. and Tiny's son. You remember that phase, right? The one where King went from being the funny kid on Family Hustle to the self-proclaimed, street-certified rapper, calling out anyone who dared question his toughness. Yeah, that one. From live streaming his arguments at Waffle House to calling out random people on the internet for testing his gangsta, King was making headlines for all the wrong reasons. People joked that he was trying way too hard to escape the shadow of his father's fame. But maybe, just maybe, that hunger for validation put him right in the middle of something way bigger than he could handle. Because according to sources, and I mean real close sources, King had been beefing with a local Atlanta crew for weeks. The kind of people who don't do internet drama, they handle things off camera. It started as words, then threats, and then, well, now he's in the ICU. Coincidence? Or was this the day the streets decided to collect their dues? T.I., of course, has always painted the image of the family man who's seen it all. A man who went from the trap to Hollywood, from prison to parenthood. But those who followed T.I. closely know that his world has never been without controversy. Gun charges, arrests, canceled shows. And let's not forget that entire debacle when he publicly admitted to taking his daughter for yearly checkups to make sure she was still a virgin. Yeah, that one didn't age well. So imagine this. A family already used to chaos now being hit with what might be their most devastating moment yet. People close to T.I. say he hasn't left the hospital since King was admitted. He's reportedly sleeping in the waiting room, barely eating, and at one point, had to be escorted out after collapsing when the doctors told him the surgery didn't go as planned. Now here's where things start to get really suspicious. Some witnesses claim that King wasn't just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was set up. Apparently, earlier that same day, King had received a call from someone he knew, someone who said they wanted to talk it out after a recent social media spat. King, trying to prove he was about that life, agreed to meet. What happened after that? Chaos, sirens, blood, and a crowd of people recording instead of helping. Videos started popping up online within minutes. Shaky clips of flashing lights, screaming voices, and what looked like King being carried into an ambulance. And as always, the internet went wild. One clip showed someone yelling, "That's T.I.'s boy," while another person off camera said, "He shouldn't have been talking all that trash." But hold on, because here's the part nobody saw coming. A supposed hospital insider leaked that, when King was brought in, his injuries didn't just look like a simple fight gone wrong. They looked intentional. Deep cuts, heavy bruising, and something about the angle of the wounds that suggested he was attacked from behind. Was this a planned hit? A message? Or just an argument that spiraled out of control? And then, out of nowhere, an anonymous Twitter account claiming to be close to the Harris family started dropping cryptic posts. It's deeper than y'all think. He was warned not to go there. The streets don't care who your daddy is. The tweets were deleted within hours, but not before screenshots spread across every gossip page, blog, and YouTube channel you can think of. Meanwhile, Tiny, King's mother, broke her silence with a heartbreaking Instagram story that simply said, "My baby is a fighter." That one post alone got over 1 million shares. Fans flooded her comments with prayers and sympathy, while others, of course, had no chill. Some said, "This is what happens when your kid tries to act hard." Others wrote, "Where were the parents when he needed guidance?" And honestly, they're not wrong to ask that, because if you really trace this story, it's not just about one bad night. It's about years of warning signs. King was publicly spiraling and everyone saw it. From altercations in public places to viral videos of him trying to intimidate people twice his age, it was clear he was walking a dangerous path. T.I., on the other hand, often brushed it off with humor or fatherly lectures that came too late. Remember that viral live session where King and T.I. argued in front of thousands of viewers? T.I. was trying to tell him he didn't grow up in the streets, that he was privileged, protected, and had opportunities others would kill for. And what did King say? "I've been outside, you just don't know." That line turned into a meme, but now it's hauntingly ironic, because being outside is exactly what landed him here. Now, insiders claim that the altercation started over something as petty as a diss video. Yes, a diss video. Allegedly, King dropped a freestyle aimed at a rival crew that didn't appreciate being name-dropped. They took it personal, and things escalated fast. Within days, messages were exchanged, threats were made, and people close to both sides warned King to chill. But King didn't listen. He wanted respect. He wanted to prove he wasn't just the kid from TV. But respect in the streets doesn't come from who your parents are. It comes from fear, power, and reputation. And when you're not built for that world, it chews you up and spits you out. Fast forward to that fateful night. King gets a call. He leaves the studio. No entourage, no security, just a few friends. Minutes later, the fight breaks out. Some say it was 3 against 1. Others say King swung first. Nobody really knows for sure. Except that by the time the police arrived, everyone had scattered. Now here's where the story takes a dark turn. Multiple eyewitnesses told reporters that someone in the crowd was seen filming the entire thing on their phone. That video hasn't been released publicly yet, but rumors say it's being shopped around to media outlets for money. Can you imagine that? A young man fighting for his life, and people trying to sell the footage like it's a reality show episode? And while the internet argues over what's real and what's not, doctors are reportedly keeping King in a medically induced coma. The official hospital statement is vague. Patient remains in critical condition. But behind closed doors, it's chaos. Security guards posted outside the ICU, family members crying in the hallway, and a distraught T.I. asking everyone to pray for my son. Meanwhile, social media is in full frenzy mode. Every influencer, every gossip page, every wannabe journalist is dissecting the story like it's a murder mystery. Some claim King's friends set him up. Others swear this was retaliation from a rival rapper's camp. And then there's a wild theory going around that this was all connected to a recent diss King made on Instagram Live, one that mysteriously disappeared a few hours before the fight. But here's what we do know. King's condition is serious, T.I. is shattered, and the Harris family's world has just been flipped upside down. And as all of this unfolds, something strange is happening. People who once mocked King for being fake street are now rallying behind him. Hashtags like Mara Pray for King Harris and Stay Strong King are trending everywhere. Even celebrities who had beef with T.I. are showing support. Lil Boosie posted, "Man praying for Lil Bro, ain't nobody deserve that." 50 Cent reposted an old clip of King and captioned it, "Life come at you fast. Hope you make it." It's like everyone suddenly realized this isn't just gossip. This is real life. But real life comes with real consequences. And from what's being whispered now, the investigation isn't just about finding who attacked King. It's about uncovering why. Because someone out there wanted this to happen. Someone out there made sure King was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the closer you look, the messier it gets. So here's where the story takes a sharp, dark twist. Because once the dust settled, and police started piecing together what really went down that night, the truth started looking a whole lot uglier than anyone expected. Sources close to the investigation claim that this wasn't just a random brawl. It was a setup orchestrated with precision. According to leaked reports floating around online, King's phone records allegedly show multiple calls to the same unknown number just hours before the incident. A number that, get this, was later traced to a burner phone, the kind used by people who don't want to be found, and here's the kicker. Investigators say they've got footage from nearby security cameras that show a blacked-out SUV trailing King's car, minutes before everything went down. Same vehicle reportedly seen leaving the area right after the fight. Sounds like coincidence? Or maybe someone wanted to make sure King didn't walk away that night. But what's wild is that this isn't just the police looking into it. Apparently, T.I. has hired his own private investigator, one who's supposedly digging deeper than the cops ever could. Insiders are saying T.I. doesn't trust local law enforcement, especially after how they handled his previous run-ins years ago. Word is he wants names, faces, and reasons, and he's willing to pay whatever it takes to get them. Now, if you've been following the Harris family saga, you already know their lives are like a reality show that never ends. But this is a whole different level, because this time, it's not about music, money, or fame. It's about revenge, and the whispers coming from the streets are spicy. Allegedly, the people who went after King weren't random haters. They were connected. Real connected. The kind of people who've been around Atlanta's underbelly for decades. A source told one Atlanta blogger, "These ain't no kids from the block. These are grown men who feel disrespected." When King dropped that diss, he didn't realize who he was talking about. He hit a nerve with the wrong crowd. And that's the part people are missing. For weeks before the incident, King had been doing what he does best, going live, calling out people, trying to prove he was built for it. There's a clip from just 3 days before the fight where he literally says, "I'm not scared of nobody, y'all know where I be at." Yeah, they knew. Now let's talk about the family's reaction behind closed doors. Because word from a hospital insider says Tiny had a breakdown the second she saw her son hooked up to machines. She reportedly screamed, "This wasn't supposed to happen to my baby," and had to be sedated. Meanwhile, T.I., usually composed, confident, smooth-talking T.I., was seen pacing outside the ICU, muttering, I told him this would happen." And while all this is happening, the internet's playing detective. Pages like The Shade Detective, Media Plug ATL, and Unfiltered Tea Room are posting exclusive sources claiming the attack was recorded by someone in King's circle, someone who's now missing. You heard that right, missing. The story goes that this friend was allegedly supposed to film the meetup as proof that the beef was getting squashed. But when things went left, that same friend disappeared. No posts, no messages, nothing. Some are saying he's gone into hiding. Others say he's been taken care of. Meanwhile, social media is tearing itself apart. Half the internet is praying for King. The other half? They're dragging him for playing gangster. One viral comment read, "You can't keep yelling street but call 911 when it gets real." Another said, "T.I. should have taught his son humility, not hustle." Harsh? Maybe. But the internet doesn't do sympathy for long. Still, behind the sarcasm and shade, there's something chilling. People are starting to question whether this was bigger than street beef. Some are whispering about money disputes. Others are hinting that King might have gotten mixed up with people moving serious weight. Now, of course, there's no solid proof of that. But when the right voices start hinting the same thing, it's hard to ignore. One supposed anonymous insider told an online podcast, "There's people in Atlanta who've been waiting to make an example out of T.I., and they couldn't touch him. So they touched what he loves most." Let that sink in for a second. Because if that's true, then this wasn't just about King's mouth. This was a message. And as if that wasn't enough drama, another twist dropped that sent everyone spiraling. A leaked audio recording allegedly featuring a voice sounding eerily like T.I., arguing with someone over the phone, saying, "You crossed the line bringing my son into this." The clip hasn't been verified, but it spread like wildfire. Some say it's AI generated. Others swear it's real. Either way, it's fueling the fire. But while everyone's arguing about recordings and leaks, the doctors were reportedly delivering grim updates. According to one hospital staffer, King suffered multiple internal injuries, and while he's stable, the next 48 hours were critical. The phrase life-threatening was used more than once, and that's when things got really real. T.I. posted a black screen to Instagram with just one caption, "God, please. No pictures. No hashtags. Just those 2 words. Within minutes, every major outlet ran with it. TMZ, The Shade Room, Hollywood Unlocked, all of them flooded with breaking King Harris in critical condition posts. Even rappers who've had beef with T.I., like 50 Cent and Boozy, reached out publicly. Boozy even said in a live stream, "We might argue, but I don't want to see no man lose his child." Meanwhile, inside the hospital, something strange was happening. Fans started showing up outside with candles and posters. People were chanting, "Stay strong, King." Security had to block off parts of the entrance because the crowd got so big. It felt less like a hospital and more like a vigil. But here's the part that sent chills through everyone. Right as fans were gathering, a black SUV pulled up to the hospital entrance. 2 men stepped out, stood there silently for a few minutes, and then left. No one knew who they were. Security didn't stop them, but a nurse swore she heard one of them say, "Tell Tip it's done." Done what? What was done? Nobody knows, but that one quote spread like wildfire. Theories exploded. Some say T.I. paid off someone to handle business. Others believe those were the same men who'd been tailing King's car that night, returning to make a statement. And while everyone's busy guessing, the investigation is expanding fast. Detectives have started interviewing King's friends, tracking phone data, and even subpoenaing social media DMs. One insider says the FBI might get involved if it's proven this was premeditated. Now, imagine the weight of all that on a father, watching his son fight for his life while being told the streets might have been hunting him for weeks. And yet, the internet's not done with its chaos. Someone leaked alleged hospital footage showing T.I. breaking down next to King's bed. You can hear him crying, saying, "I should have protected you." The clip's blurred and muffled, but fans swear it's real. T.I. hasn't confirmed or denied it, but the damage is done. Every outlet, every page, every YouTube commentator is feasting on this story like vultures. Headlines like T.I.'s past comes back to haunt him, and karma catches up to King Harris are trending. The Harris family, once seen as hip-hop royalty, is now being painted as broken, vulnerable, and cursed. But here's the twist that no one's prepared for. Just as everyone's ready to write King off, a source close to the family says he started showing small signs of recovery. His vitals improved. Doctors are saying there's a chance. A small one, but a chance. And while that's giving fans hope, it's also reigniting the investigation. Because if King wakes up, he might be able to tell the world exactly who did this. The million-dollar question now is, will he talk? Or will he keep the code of the streets he tried so hard to live by? Because if King names names, this story blows wide open. But if he stays silent, then the truth might die in that hospital room with him. And that's exactly where things stand as we move into the next phase. The fallout. Because when the truth starts to leak, and the money trails start connecting the dots, this whole situation turns from tragedy to scandal. And just when everyone thought things couldn't get any more chaotic, they did. Because only 24 hours after doctors confirmed, King was showing slight signs of improvement. New evidence surfaced that turned the entire investigation upside down. According to exclusive reports from unnamed sources, close to law enforcement, surveillance, footage from a nearby gas station revealed 2 masked men leaving the scene. And one of them was allegedly someone King knew. Personally, yeah, let that sink in. Someone from his own circle. Suddenly the narrative shifted from random street attack to betrayal from within. The same people he'd been seen hanging out with on social media, popping bottles, flashing money, calling themselves brothers, may have been the ones who sold him out. One supposed insider told a gossip site it was all planned. They told him to pull up solo, said it was peace talk. He trusted them. He didn't see it coming. The police haven't released names, but online detectives wasted no time. They started pulling up clips, analyzing old posts, matching voices from King's live streams to voices in the leaked audio. It's like an entire CSI Twitter edition working overtime. And just when you think the internet couldn't get more ruthless, people started circulating screenshots of alleged DMs showing one of King's friends bragging hours after the attack. The message supposedly said, he thought he could talk slick, but now he's quiet for real. Now, none of this has been officially verified, but in the court of public opinion, he's already guilty. Meanwhile, the Harris family is dealing with the fallout in real time. Tiny reportedly hasn't left the hospital in days. She's sleeping on a chair beside King's bed, holding his hand, whispering prayers. T.I., on the other hand, is moving like a man possessed, constantly on the phone, calling in favors, and, according to one close friend, ready to burn down the city if the people behind this aren't found. And let's be honest, if you know T.I.'s history, you know he's not bluffing. This is a man who's been to prison, faced federal charges, and still walked out with his head high. You think he's going to sit quietly while someone puts his son in a hospital bed? Not a chance. But here's where the story goes from tragedy to straight-up scandal. Because as investigators dig deeper, whispers start surfacing about a financial link between the alleged attackers and, wait for it, someone from inside T.I.'s own business circle. Word on the street is that a small-time promoter who used to book shows for King might have been funneling money to the same crew King was beefing with. Motive? Jealousy? Revenge? Or maybe just a big paycheck? An anonymous industry source told one gossip podcast, "There's more to this than just a fight. There's money involved, ego involved, and somebody high up trying to cover their tracks. That's why certain people don't want this footage released." Now fans are convinced that this whole thing was never about King being tough. It was about shutting him up, permanently. Some are saying he stumbled into information about dirty money in the Atlanta rap scene. Others claim he was about to expose someone powerful. And while these theories sound wild, you know how it goes. Every lie in Hollywood has a little bit of truth hiding inside it. Meanwhile, T.I. held a press conference outside the hospital that went viral within minutes. Dressed in all black, visibly exhausted, he said, "I ain't here to entertain rumors. My son's fighting, and I'm fighting right beside him. But if anybody thinks this gon' go unanswered, they mistaken." That clip alone hit 10 million views in less than a day. Fans flooded the comments saying, "This man's about to unleash something." Others warned him not to let anger make him lose everything again. But if you looked into his eyes during that clip, the man's not thinking about consequences. He's thinking about justice, and that's when it happened. The leak that broke the internet. A local Atlanta blogger dropped what they called the full story, claiming to have audio of a phone call between two men allegedly connected to the attack. In the clip, one voice says, "He shouldn't have brought up the boss. Now it's handled." The blogger didn't reveal where the recording came from, but within hours, the post was deleted, the account vanished, and the audio link went dead. Too late. Thousands had already downloaded it. Suddenly, every news outlet, podcast, and YouTuber had the same question. Who is the boss? Who was King talking about that made someone want to silence him? And just as people started connecting dots, another layer peeled back. Leaked court documents suggested that one of the suspects taken into custody used to work for a record label with ties to T.I.'s old associates. So now the internet's running wild with theories that this was a music industry revenge plot disguised as street violence. If that's true, we're not talking about a street fight anymore. We're talking about a full-blown industry hit. And while everyone's arguing online, something powerful happens in the hospital room. King finally opens his eyes. According to family insiders, his first words were slurred but clear enough to make everyone freeze. He said, "They set me up, that's it." No names, no details, just those 4 chilling words. Tiny reportedly broke down crying. T.I. stormed out of the room, and within hours, every news outlet in the country had picked it up. King Harris wakes up, claims he was set up. From that moment, everything changed. Detectives came back with new subpoenas. Phones got confiscated. Social media accounts went dark. People who were posting memes about King 2 days ago suddenly went private. Something's moving behind the scenes. Something big. But as the legal side ramps up, the public reaction hits another level. Fans are furious. Hashtags like Dawn, Justice for King, and Why, Who Set Up King Harris dominate timelines. Protesters even gathered outside an Atlanta courthouse demanding arrests. One sign read, "We won't let them silence our youth." And yet, through all this chaos, T.I. remains eerily quiet. No posts, no interviews, just silence. That kind of silence that feels like a storm's brewing. People close to him say, he's been making calls to powerful people and cleaning up loose ends. Others claim he's preparing for the biggest legal war of his career. Whatever it is, he's not letting this slide. Not this time. But let's be real. This whole ordeal has left deep scars, not just on King, but on the entire family. Their once polished image of celebrity royalty is now shattered. Their mansion, once filled with music and laughter, is now surrounded by reporters and security guards. Every friend is a suspect. Every memory feels tainted. And yet, amidst the darkness, there's this strange sense of poetic justice. Because maybe this was the universe forcing a wake-up call, not just for King, but for every kid trying to play a role they're not built for. It's a brutal reminder. The streets don't love you back. Still, this story's far from over. Investigators are reportedly preparing a list of potential suspects. Names will drop, charges will come, and when that happens, we'll finally see who was really behind this, and whether it was about music, money, or pure malice. And in the middle of it all, King's slowly recovering. Doctors say it'll take months before he's fully back, but the fact that he's breathing, talking, and healing is nothing short of a miracle. Now, the question everyone's asking: when he does get better, will he speak up? Will he expose the truth? Or will he keep it quiet, knowing the kind of people he's dealing with? Because in the world of fame, loyalty, and ego, silence isn't always peace. Sometimes it's protection. And as for T.I., one thing's certain. He's not the same man he was before this. He's seen too much, lost too much, and now he's got a new mission. Not just to rebuild his son's life, but to make sure nobody ever dares touch his family again. And if history's taught us anything about T.I., it's this: he always finds a way to fight back. The only question now is, how far is he willing to go this time? Because when the truth finally drops, it might not just shake Atlanta. It might shake the entire hip-hop world, and that's where we're gonna leave it for now. Because this story is still unfolding by the hour. King Harris is out of the coma, doctors are hopeful, and the investigation is heating up like never before. But the question that nobody can answer yet is, who really wanted him gone? And why? Was this a street beef gone wrong? A setup from inside his own circle? Or something even deeper? A message aimed straight at T.I. himself? The industry's whispering, people are vanishing, and every clue just raises another question. And trust me, when the truth comes out, it's going to change everything we thought we knew about the Harris family, fame, and how dark the music world can get behind the flashing lights. So what do you think? Was King a victim of betrayal from his own crew? Did his father's enemies finally find a way to strike back? Or is this all part of a bigger cover-up the public's not supposed to see? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear your theories, your takes, and your wildest guesses. Because one thing's for sure, this story's not over. Not by a long shot. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines and catch every twist before it hits the blogs, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. Because when the next update drops, you're gonna want to be the first to know. This is more than gossip. This is history unfolding in real time. Stay tuned, stay alert, and remember, in Hollywood and hip-hop, nothing is ever what it seems. Hollywood and hip-hop, nothing is ever what it seems.